All right, so as you can see my screen, here is the information about myself. This is my bio. That who am I? Let me tell you about things about myself. That I am Abhsihek and I am a dual CCIE routing switching as well as security. From the last 13 years, I am doing this teaching job. Also, I am working as a full-time network engineer with security with ISP here in India. So I have the experience, a lot of experience in Cisco devices, Juniper, and your Alcatel, Huawei, and all that. Apart from that, I have these many certifications from the Cisco only. Apart from that, I have a CEH, Palo Alto, Juniper, Checkpoint, all that also. All this is stuff, right? This is the brief intro about myself. And this course you are going to have here will be a CCNP CCI Enterprise, right? This is a course about CCNP and CCI Enterprise. Anyone who wants to introduce itself can unmute or the raise hand will allow to introduce something about the just name and the professional things, not anything else. If you're interested, you can introduce yourself.
Yeah, I have a quick question. Like now, what about the course content? Like, is it completely like from the theory and practical we are walkthrough of the course content, or we are working for the lab itself?
Yeah, so here, what we are going to do, we are going to do each and everything for the CCNP and CCI. It means all the concept will be cleared first, all the topics will be covered first, and at the same time, lab also will be done. So it's not something that you think that it is just a CCI lab thing. No, it's all things, all the theory concepts, all the study material will be provided, all things will be discussed here, and the same things will be applied on the lab. So it is both lab as well as your theory portion. Everything will be
Okay, so what
all right.
about the like when we are discussing about the lab? Okay, what about the SDA and an SDWAN lab? Like, are we going to provide the lab practice devices as well? Like
See
for
that?
especially for
Yeah,
the SDA, SDWAN and the SD
correct.
access. Yeah.
Let me show you. Right now, we have just prepared a lab for the this SD-WAN that you can see that. The same lab you will get. We
Mhm.
have here that our SD-WAN setup. This is the lab that you will get for the practice. So all the lab is there. Everything will be discussed for the SD-WAN. All the practice means you will get the remote access. So see, if I go here, this is the one lab. Same way we have many labs here. If I choose this one, we can see that we have a SD-WAN lab also. If I go here, see, this is my SD-WAN lab. The same you will get. You all guys are gonna do this, right? This is the SD-WAN. We get just devices. We have the V managers, v1, v4, and all things. Okay.
Okay,
So
okay, I
all
got
the
it.
lab
Thank you.
you will get. Do not worry about it, and you will get it through the RDP. There you are going to. This is the just topology here that you can see.
And what about the
And
course content and the duration? Like the how much, what will be the duration of this complete
all will,
course?
yeah, all will be discussed here in
Yeah,
3 to 4 minutes. Let the others
sure.
also join. Okay. And there is one more question from the chat. Let me check it. I'm a Surface CCNP collab and I want to do this CCNP plus CCI to change my from collab. Obviously, you can go for it. Means it will be a bit easy for you because you will be familiar with your CCN and all that stuff. That will help you. You will get a means you have always a extra edge to do that thing. Okay, you can do that 110%. This will obviously in the last demo I also explained that it is the most demanding CCI track, CCI enterprise, because it is covering your the new automation devices, SD-WAN concept, DNS center, and all that stuff. So obviously, it is the most demanded thing. If anyone is doing that, well, a lot of opportunities are waiting in the market. Then we have one more question regarding access and all can concept, okay, right? So do not worry about the lab things. As I displayed here, that RDP will be there available all the time that you can get the access and you can have the practice of lab all the time. No problem for this lab thing. Do not worry about it. More thing I will discuss. I will discuss about the course content and all that things, but in a minute. If other students are also going to join maybe in a 5 to 10 minutes, then we'll see. The first thing we'll see what we are going to cover in this course. Okay, don't worry about it. Any other question, guys? You can ask. Till then, we are not starting. You can ask anything, whatever you want.
Will there be a home lab option for this class, or no, because of the SDA and DNAC requirements?
There'll be a home lab. Can you
You know how for a lot of their classes, I've set up, I've got the home lab from you from Network Journey. So I was wondering if for this one we were going to have a home lab option, or if it was just a RDP, which would be
see
fine.
that? Yeah. Let me tell you, for this SD-WAN and for your DNS center, it is not possible to install that lab on your home router, on your laptop. No way.
No. Okay.
Because it's going to take a lot of memory, something like 32 GB, something like maybe more than that,
Yeah.
64 GB. It is not possible in our personal laptop. Yeah, for
Okay.
the basic, like for doing your OSPF, BGP and all that stuff that you can do on your events, no problem. You don't need to go and come on this RDP to
Okay.
the lab. The lab will be,
Yeah.
this is the common practice. You need to try to do the lab for the things that you cannot do on your laptop, right? Like the SD-WAN things, DNS things, or any other stuff that you cannot run on your laptop. So for the basic stuff, obviously you will be doing it on your laptop. It's a very good thing to do it because honestly there will be no lag, there will be no time change, right? No delay.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
for the basic stuff, I will recommend that you can do it. And then we have I have done
Okay.
my CCNP and core CCNP the same in 3 months back. I'm planning to give my CCI next July. Is it doable in the next 7 months? If it is, if I give 3 to 4 hour daily study, please advise. Obviously, I will discuss about this thing. What will be the planning? What how to do and how to plan about your CCI. So the interesting thing about the CCI is it is always recommended. Means in the last class, I also requested to the students that if you are going to take the CCNP for any track, always try to do the CCNP plus CCI in a one go. The benefit is that because if suppose you are doing CCNP today and after 6 months you planning to do the CCI, what will happen? Again, you have to revise everything from the starting, from the scratch, right? So unnecessarily you are wasting your time twice and you will also waste the money. Because if you are taking two courses separately, it will cost you high and it will take a lot of time also. So it's the best way to complete the both things in a one go. Once you are done with your CCNP exam, always start focusing on your CCI. The only difference is that in, I think now we are not going to get more students, so we can start now. So in CCNP and CCI exam, what is the difference? Only one difference is there that CCNP is a written exam and CCI is your lab exam. That is the only one difference. And apart from that, all the content that you have, all the topics will be there in your CCNP. Same topic will be in your CCI lab also. Nothing is added extra in your CCI lab. So one thing I want to clear with you guys that if you are planning for your CCI, so don't confuse or don't think that CCI require any other extra stuff to do that if I have the CCNP. No, all the topic which is covered in the CCNP will be still the same in the CCI lab also. The only changes will be there, the approach. When you are preparing for your CCNP exam, you are preparing it from the written exam point of view. When you are preparing for the lab exam, approach will be differently changed. You will focus more and more on the lab, how this problem we are getting, how to solve this problem on the lab. When you are doing it on the CCNP, you are working on the concept. So once your concept is clear in the CCNP, you will apply the same concept in the lab. Okay, so don't confuse that CCNP and CCI preparation is totally different. No, basically both are the same thing. Approach will be the different. In case of CCNP, it will be the concept based thing. Once your concept is very clear, obviously your approach will change for the CCI lab. That will be based on your practice on the lab. A lot of time you have to give. I think if anyone have done all the things for the CCNP, just like a 4 month, then after that 4 months or the 3 months will be required to have a good hands-on practice for the CCIE lab exam. How many hours? If you ask me how many hours in a day, so at the starting, if you are planning that you want to complete your all the course maybe in a 6 month or a 7 month, then at the starting you may start working with the 4 hours with this course. And once in the last 3 months, change it to from three or the 4 hours to the 8 hour or to the 10. That is it. Not more than that. 8 to 10 max is max. Second thing, when you are preparing for your CCI lab exam, there is no requirement to have anything memorize any command. That is the biggest mistake by all the CCI. What they think, if I memorize all the commands, suppose in CCI Enterprise Lab, there will be something approximately 3 to 4,000 commands. Even I have seen that many students make the short note for the command, 3,000 to the 4,000 command. Could you believe, is it possible for any human being to memorize all that 4,000 commands? Even if you somehow you have a very smart, you just memorize, mug up all that 4,000 commands. What happened? It will totally disturb you in the lab. So never try to memorize any command if you are going for your CCI exam. This is the first condition. Try to practice that command more and more on the lab. Have some hands-on. So that even if you forget about that, you have many ways to use the help command, to use the question mark, and get the answer for that. So I will not suggest to anyone to just try to start memorizing 3,000 or the 4,000 commands, which is there in your CCNP enterprise. No. When you practice it step by step, each topic every day, like OSPF to the BGP, BGP to the MPLS, MPLS to the VPN, all will automatically go in your mind. Don't have to take any extra stress for this. And you all must be aware that the passing percentage is very low in the CCI. So it is only because of not the proper planning. If you are planning properly, if you are doing the things which your mentor is telling to you, obviously you can pass in a one go. That is my problem. You can pass in a one go. Right? There is a proper planning and proper approach is required to crack your CCI enterprise lab exam. See, the problem is there is a one more problem. There are tons of document available online or maybe the offline for the CCI for any track. What we start at the when we are starting to prepare for the CCI, we are going to check all the tons of documents here and there, here and there, here and there. And after when it is time to go for the exam, it's not possible to check that tons of documents. So it is a useless concept if you are checking that tons of study material for the CCI. The proper approach is to focus on some reference book, maybe the 2 or 3 books. Focus on what study material your mentor is providing to you. Focus on all the topics in detail from the basic to the expert level. Like if you are learning about OSPF, it's not recommended to jump from OSPF to the BGP without clearing everything from the OSPF. So once it is clear, then only go for it. So step by step, if you are approaching, it's very easy to pass your CCI lab exam in a one go. Otherwise, I know many students, those who are doing it 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, but still struggling to pass this exam because this exam is not to memorize anything. This exam is to test your fundamentals of each and every topic. If your fundamental is good, you can pass it in a one go. Otherwise, you will always be confused that how to pass it. I know that one guy, maybe you can check it on the online also. I think he tried 6 or 7 times, and after that he passed the CCI. So it is only because of the wrong approach. If you get a good mentor, if you get a proper guidance, you can pass your exam in a one go. CCNP as well as CCI lab. Both you can pass in a one go. I know many of my students pass in a one go, not in the second attempt. No way. Because the proper approach. Whatever your mentor is telling to you, stick to that thing. Never try to be the smart that I am very smart, I am going to check the RFTs. So this is the first thing. Any student, those who are know something about what is the thing that they are going to check the RFTs. There is a detailed information about each routing protocol, packet level, switch level, and the byte level. So it's a good thing to check that RFCs, but for the CCI, I think it is required a proper approach. Proper approach is to go topic by topic according to your class. Whatever you are learning here in the class, need to make a habit to revise that same after the class. and practice the same thing, apply the same thing on the lab, same day. If you are doing this way, 110% you can pass your CCI exam in a one go. No doubt at all. No confusion. Okay. All right. Any other questions that you guys have? You can ask or raise your hand. Those who have joined a bit late, they can also ask. All right. Even suppose if you want to set your home lab or your on your router, if you on your laptop, if you have the big better configuration like the 64 GB RAM or 34 GB RAM, our team can also help you to set up the lab on your laptop also. No problem. But
Sir,
in this
how
course,
do we
once
sorry to cut you. How do we practice SDA? Do we have to have any high grade server, or do we have to do the everything online?
see how to practice it. See, if you are going to practice on our lab, then it will be through the RDP online. If you want to do it on your side, then our backend team will install that lab to on your laptop also. So as I said, that the basic things still you can do on your laptop offline. There is no problem at all. But all the rest things you will not be able to do that. Okay. So do not worry about the lab thing. It will be a good thing. There is no problem at all. Right. Let's see now what things we are going to cover in this CCNP, CCI Enterprise training. So these are the topics which is covered in your means in this course. You will always, or whatever the class you are doing, you will get the recording of that, and you will have the access of that recording to revise that. Obviously, see, when you are taking a live class, I recommend you guys not to try to note down anything in your notebook, because if you try to do that, it will unnecessarily disturb you or distract you from understanding the concept of the topic. It's the best way is to have listen it properly. And when you want to note down something, then revise through the video. And when you are revising it through the recorded videos, then only note down whatever you want to write. Then you have notes, PDF, and class PPT workbooks all will be provided to you, because you know the one big problem with any track for the CCNP or the CCI that there are tons of document available. So it's little confused that which document should I take as a reference. So that will be the responsibility of ours, how and what document you need to be checked and try to understand from there. But time to time, in a one go, nothing will be provided to you guys. Because if I go and provide you the all document about the all study materials, the workbook, you may jump from OSTF to the MPLS, MPLS to the SDwan, or SDwan to the DNS center. That all things you will try to do that. Unnecessarily will disturb you, distract you. That is not recommended. So step by step, phase wise, you will be provided all the study. Now, what topics will be covered? And here in this course, we'll see it. See that. CCI, when we are writing here the 5 topic, it means it is covering all. It is covering your CCNP Encor. It's covering your all the rest also. Let me go here. It's covering your Cisco SD-WAN things, Cisco CCNP Enarsi. All that is covered in your CCI basics. So what is the topic here in the CCI lab? Is the same what you have in your CCNP. So CCNP core is the one exam which you have to clear before going for your CCI lab exam. It's not possible before giving this exam to sit for the CCI enterprise exam. Earlier, there was a different concept. Earlier, you need to have passed the CCI written exam and then go for the CCI lab. But now, you need to pass the CCNP and core exam to be eligible for your CCI enterprise course. In CCNP course 1, which is covering all the topics that you have in your enterprise. And then we have a special segment, a very particular things about the special routing things, infrastructure things. We have the SD-WAN things, any things which you want to go in detail for the special training for that, that all things will be there. So in this course, what we are going to do, we are going to cover CCNP and core. In the CCNP and core, your SD-WAN will be covered. This your advanced routing will be covered. Your these all things will be covered. Automation and all. Because this SD-WAN is still, see that there is a SD-WAN one exam for concept as an exam. But here in this automation again, it is there. So it's not possible for anyone to have a classes something like this way. First clear the CCNP core, then go for the SDwan, or then go for the advanced. No, it's a useless concept. The concept is in the Encore, which is covering all your CCNP topics, go in a proper detailed way that will cover your all the CCI topics also. All the CCI topics that I have here will be covered for your CCNP and core exam as well as any concentration exam that you want to go for it. So if you are just looking for the CCNP, then it is good. If you are suppose looking for the CCNP plus CCI, then yeah, you can go for this exam and then go for the CCI lab. So in this course, we are going to cover everything that you can see here, CCI Enterprise, all the topic here in the Encore, in the SDwan, in your Enarsi, in your automation. That all topics will be covered, each and everything. But it's not be according to the Cisco plan that I need to go for, suppose like something for UDP or the CDP things, the VLAN concept. And then again, when I'm talking about security things, like this thing, DHCP snooping and all that, IP source guard and all this. No, it will be not like that. When I'm touching the any layer 2 technology, I will complete each and everything from that point of view, or the switching point of security, VLAN, trunking, FTP, BTP, routing things, remote access, all the things will be covered for the time. Same way when we are covering, suppose like OSPF. So it's not be like this way that how to configure OSPF in a small scenario, how to configure it to the SDwan and all that. No, it will be covered each and everything for the OSPF. Security things, how to configure OSPF, multi-area concept, each and everything about the OSPF will be covered. That is only going to make a sense. If I'm going to according to the plan, that will never make a sense and you will always be confused. Okay. So yeah, obviously, if you have this way, we are going to handle. Means we'll take a one topic like a switching. We'll complete each and everything from the point of Encore, from the point of SDwan, from the point of Enarsi, from the point of CCI lab. From all point of view, we are going to cover a one topic. Then we'll jump on the second topic, like OSPF, like BGP, and all will be covered in that. Okay, so the course or the flow will be this way. We are going to cover each and everything in your CCNP as well as your CCI lab exam, but it will be topic wise. Topic wise means one by one. It will not be like that according to go here and there. Okay. Any doubt in this course content that what we are going to do here? Till now, if you have any doubt, you can ask. Otherwise, we'll go for the next things. We'll start the actual lab that what we are going to see. You will see there and just that how I'm going to take a small topic and I will clear each and everything about the topic. And then we are going to see the same things in the lab. Right? Any doubt regarding the course content or the lab access? You can ask. Otherwise, we'll start the one topic. So let me go to my this. And in this lab, today we are going to discuss about the BGP, and at the last we'll discuss about the SDwan and our DNS server. Okay, so agenda will be today the BGP. The topic for discussion and the lab will be our BGP. So anyone having any doubt or anything regarding the lab or the content, you can ask. Otherwise, we'll go and do that. So what I'm going to do, we are going to configure the BGP here in this lab. I'm gonna to take my this portion of the lab here. Here the all things. This side we are going to cover this much of the one. This way. Here we are going to do all BGP between the different AS numbers, how this BGP works, all the basic things we'll talk about. All right. So first thing about the BGP protocol. Where we need to configure this? Do we need to configure BGP in our in any company which is basically working as banking sector or a normal company? So obviously the answer will be the no. that BGP is not something which is configured inside any company. It's not for that. So for what purpose BGP is there? BGP is something when you have a more than one connection from your company to the ISP side. In that case, you can run the BGP. But suppose if your company having a one connection to the one ISP, single connection to the ISP, in that case, it is never recommended to use the BGP inside your company because you are the expert of that. No, it's a wrong concept to be with that. Okay. Always remember BGP is not something to configure inside a company or inside a company if they have just one connection with the internet service provider. It's not recommended. Any company or any enterprise can use it only in the case if they have the multi-homing concept. Multi-homing means they have more than one path to connect to the ISP, like this way. There are two ISPs. In that case, you can use the BGP routing protocol. And second thing, where we can use it, this is the point of from the enterprise. In the enterprise, you can only use it when you are having a more than one way to connect with the internet, only in that case. Second way, you need to run BGP only in the case if you are working as an ISP. If your company is already as working as an ISP, you are an internet service provider. In that case, it is recommended to run the BGP protocol with other ISP because between the two ISPs, the only routing protocol is used all over the world is your BGP routing protocol. Not any other routing protocol is used between two ISPs. BGP protocol is not something like our OSPF, RIP, and EIJP, where we are getting the information automatically and all that. BGP is basically the EGP means it is external. I mean, it is between the two different autonomous systems, like from one enterprise to the ISP or between the two different ISPs. So be clear. The first thing always, whenever you are going for the BGP thing, that you need to clear whether I need to configure it in my company or in my enterprise or not. In any production house, you can only configure the BGP routing protocol if you have something like this way. Or maybe you have a two routers and there are two links which is going to the ISP2. It's not recommended that you need always the two ISPs. If you have more than one link to reach on the single ISP, in that case also you can use a BGP routing protocol. Otherwise, it is not recommended to any company to use it. It is only means required between the ISPs to run that BGP protocol and share the information with each other. Second thing, where we not to use, when I have a one connection, one way to go outside of the company to the ISP, I should not use it. Second, if my router capacity is not good or it is not capable of handling all that routes, it is also requested not to use the BGP. Okay, because BGP is your external routing protocol. It's not like the IGP thing, where we can have a very small thing. We have a limited number of network like 100, 200 or the thousands of network. In case of BGP, if I talk about the ISPs, they have something like 1 million BGP routes in the routing table. Is it possible for any normal router to handle all that? No, it's not possible. So be careful. If suppose you, because you know about this BGP routing protocol, you enable it with the ISP and you're getting that 1 million routes, maybe your router can crash. So remember always, it depends on your capacity of the device. It depends on the connection with the ISPs, the multi-homing thing, and the next thing between the ISPs. Only in that scenario, you should use the BGP routing protocol. Otherwise, you should not use it. It's a totally different from the IGP because nothing is automated in your BGP routing protocol. Everything is manual. If I want to say something with my other router, so I need to establish a neighborship manually. It's not like the OSPF or the EIGRP or the RIP that neighborship will be automatic and they will share everything. Nothing will happen like that. In BGP, everything is manual. If you want to make a neighborship, you have to configure it. If you want to get that bit of information, you need to request what kind of a network you want to get, what kind of reachability you want. All things you have to do it manually. Second interesting thing, BGP is not to provide only the network information. It is more or less for the traffic engineering, path manipulation, for the traffic policy. When you want to design, suppose I'm running here on my R1 and R2 and I'm running here on ISP 1 and 2, the BGP routing protocol. So obviously, this company is going to use some policy, some traffic engineering. That hey, if this link is my very low, I will only share some traffic on that, and all the traffic will go on this. So that kind of a traffic engineering is possible because of your BGP routing protocol. When you want to make a routing policy, you want to do some kind of traffic engineering, that is possible only with the help of BGP routing protocol, and it's going to use a different attribute that we discuss later, right? So that is the reason of using BGP routing protocol. It's all more or less about the manual process. Then these are the things which is pretty easy for you guys, that BGP and eBGP. There are two type of neighborship in your BGP routing protocol. One is eBGP. eBGP means when you are running between the two different autonomous systems, means between the two ISP or maybe the one ISP and a one enterprise, then that is called as the external BGP. How to find out this? It's very easy. If the AS number of the two companies are different and they are running BGP with each other, that will be always a eBGP neighborship. And if you are running inside your company, so suppose if I go here on my topology, suppose if I'm running my BGP on my these three routers, they all have the same AS number 123. So that will be the iBGP concept. So there are two type of BGP neighborship is there, eBGP and iBGP, right? And obviously, the admin distance for the eBGP is 20 and for the iBGP it is 200. Next thing, what is the basic thing about the BGP is, it, as I already explained you guys, that it is a external gateway protocol. It's recommended to use between the autonomous system, not inside any company to make the things complicated, because this BGP protocol is more or less manual thing. Manually, we have to define all the things. So it's not recommended inside any company. Second thing, neighborship will be always manual. You have to configure it manually in both the routers, then they will establish that thing. And this BGP protocol is working on your TCP protocol. It's going to use a layer 4 TCP protocol at the layer 4, the BGP protocol. Okay, so obviously if they are using a TCP protocol, so what will be there? If the two routers are going to make a neighborship or they are exchanging anything, there will be always a TCP three-way handshake first between the two routers if they are going to establish the neighborship. Always, any application, if it is using a TCP protocol at layer 4, it is going to establish a three-way handshake first. Sync packet, sync ACK, and acknowledgement. Once the TCP connection is established, on that, your BGP will be exchanged. The BGP packet will be exchanged between R1 and then they will establish the neighborhood. So all the time, remember, if R1 and R2 are trying to establish BGP neighborship with each other, and there is maybe a firewall in between that. So make sure that firewall is enabling the port number, TCP port number 179, because on TCP 179 port number, your BGP protocol is going to work. If there is a firewall, maybe on toward the this AS side, or maybe this AS side, in between R1 and R2, you make sure that this port is allowed, 179, TCP port number 1. Otherwise, it's not going to. Second thing, by default, once they will become the neighbor, R2 is not going to give this information to the R1 by default. No way. Not like your OSPF for the EIGR. If you want to share your any network information from R2 to the R1, you need to specify under your BGP configuration. That is called as NLRI. Network layer reachability information, you have to manually feed in your BGP table, then that will be shared with your neighbor. Otherwise, nothing will. So neighborship is manual, sharing your network information is manual. So what we are getting here? So that is why this BGP routing protocol is not to provide a reachability thing or the same network information to the all devices inside a company. It is basically between the two different companies or the two different AS numbers, so that they can make an agreement. What I want from you guys, what I want from you guys to reach and have some kind of agreement. That is why the BGP is the only protocol which is supported between the IS. More or less, only the BGP protocol is supported. Sometimes, if it is a regional ISP, they may use a default route. They don't need any difficult thing. Okay. And then how we set up these things, how we manage and how we manipulate the path and all with the help of attributes. There are many attributes in the BGPs that will be used to manipulate the path, how the traffic should go this way, that way, and for the both traffic, incoming traffic as well as for the outgoing traffic. For both, you can decide how it should go. It all depends on the attributes of the BGP. Right. We have, these are the very popular attributes that you can see here. The weight is only for the Cisco devices. If you are working with the Cisco devices, then you will also get a one attribute which is called as the weight. Then we have a local preference, originate, AS path, origin type, MED, path, and router ID. These are the very popular attributes of the BGP. In detail, we'll definitely go when we have a proper class about these things. But these are the attributes which is used all the way to manipulate the path, how the traffic should go from here to there. All that will be discussed here in that attribute section. Then we have, all right. So these are the basic things about the BGP. Now let's see how to apply these all the basic stuff, attribute things, how to see that the neighbor state establishment, how the network information is going on. All that we are going to see same thing in the lab. What we have here, we have this kind of a setup. See that. This is BGP 123, this is BGP 145, this is 150, and we have here BGP 100. We'll configure that. Let's configure it between the 12 and 4, and then between 4 and 2, then 2 and 7, and then 4 and 8, and see the all basic things from the very basic to the expert level. Before I go and start that things, let me tell you one more thing. The interface between the devices is in this way, 155.1. And the third octet will be according to the router name. Suppose it is between 12 and 4, so the third octet will be 124. Suppose it is between router 4 and 2, so it will be 24, the third octet. Last octet, last part will be according to your router name. So on router 4, if I talk what IP I'm configuring on 03, so it is between 4 and 12. So my third part will be 124. So my IP on R4 will be 155.1.124.4. On 12 side, on 01 interface, what it will be? It will be 155.1.124.12. Okay, this is the way how I have configured all the interfaces. Second thing, each router also have a loopback. What is that loopback? Loopback will start with the 150.1, and the last two part is according to the router. So if it is a router 12, the last two number will be 12 and 12. If it is 4, it will be 4 and 4. All clear? No confusion about the IP addressing, how I'm doing it here. It is totally depend on your route. Between the two routers, the third part will depend. The last part will be according to your router. And for the loopback, first two part will be the common, and the last two part will be the router. All good? Right? So let's take the control of our this router 2. And then router 4, router 12 here. And then see that. Let's go back to the topology also, which is just a minute. This is the topology. R4, this R12 is in BGP 145 and R4 is in BGP 123. So let me quickly write that here also, that this is in my BGP 123 and this is in my 145. 145. Right? 145. Tag it here. Let's configure it now. Between only the two routers and see the basic stuff between the 12 and 4. Go to the router 12. See that is any routing protocol is working. Obviously, no routing protocol is running. The BGP is 123 is running. And I'm going to use what routing protocol? 145 on this router. So let's go and delete that. And be clear that on any routers, you can run only one BGP AS number. It's not possible to have the two BGP AS number on the same router. No, not possible. Okay. Only one AS number you can configure on any router. So on R12, I'm going to make it as a 145. So how will I do that? Router BGP and write the AS number. First thing is done. Now, I want to make a neighborship with 4. So I need to write what is the IP of R4. How will I write this way? Neighbor. Who is my neighbor? Router 4, which is 155.1.124.4. And then what is the AS number of router 4? So the AS number of router 4 is your 123. I will write that, which you can see here. It is my 123, which I did that. Still, the neighborship will be not established because it is a manual process. I need to go on R4 also. I need to establish this chain. Let's go here. The only condition when the two routers can become the neighbor, once I will write the network command, the neighbor command, at the same time, R4 and R12 are reachable on that local interface IP. If they are not able to reach, then the neighborship will not establish. So let's go here at the command router BGP13 and write the neighbor command, which is 155.1.124.12, and the remote AS this side will be 145. Why? Because my router 12 is in 145. It's done. If everything is good, if I am able to ping from here to there, my neighborship will be established. First, they will establish the BGP. Once it is done, they will establish. See that the neighborship is established between the 4 and 12. But if I go and check anything, that whether I am getting any BGP route or not, so no. See that. By default, they are not becoming the neighbor. At the same time, by default, they are not exchanging anything. Whatever the router R12 has, whatever the router R4 has, it's not going to share with this each other. No way. Not getting anything in the 12 as well as in your router 4, right? Not on the 12, not on the 4. Nothing is exchanged. Everything is manual processing in your BGP thing. So let's now go and do something advertise here. So let's do one thing. I'm gonna to advertise my loopback IP under my BGP, which is 145. So here, how can I do that? I can use the network command. See that. What is the difference for this network command in BGP and in your OSPF or EIGRP? In EIGRP and OSPF, you are using this network command to activate your routing protocol on interface. But here in BGP, this network command is used to advertise whatever the network you are going to write here to your all the neighbors, BGP neighbors. Okay, be clear about that. This network command in the BGP is not going to activate my BGP routing protocol on any interface. It is just going to share it with the all BGP neighbors. It's not like your OSPF or the RIP routing protocol. In OSPF, RIP, and EIGRP, this network command is basically going to activate my EIGRP, OSPF, or RIP protocol on that particular interface. But here it is only advertising to the neighbor. So what is my loopback on this? Is 150.1.12. Right? This is the loopback IP of 12. And then what is my mask? My mask is 4 times 255. If I go now check it, this information should be set with my 4, and 4 will get at least one BGP route that you can see here, 150.1.12.12, and the admin distance is 20. As I said that because these two are a different AS number, so that will be the case, right? But it means, can I share anything by the network command to my neighbor 4? No, this is also not possible. It doesn't mean that if the network command is going to advertise to my neighbor whatever I'm writing as a network. No, there is a one restriction, one condition. My router 12 will share this route only if this is available in my routing table. So yeah, this is my loopback. It is available in my routing table. So that is why my router is going to share this. So be careful that network command doesn't mean whatever the things you are going to write, your router 12 will share it with the R4 as a BGP route. No way. First of all, the moment I will type my network command, my router 12 is going to see whether this route is available in my routing table or not. If it is available, only then 12 is going to and share it with the 4. Let's check that. Suppose I'm going to share a route, a network which is not available in my router 12. Something like this. 12.12.12 and the mask is something like 255, 255, 255, right? I did that on 12. But the problem is this is not available in my routing table, 12, 12, 12. Will it be shared with my neighbor 4? No way. Still, if I go and check it on my 4, no way. I'm not getting that. See that? It's not possible. Only the first condition when you are writing your network command, that network should be present in the routing table of 12. Only then you will share it with your neighbor. Otherwise, you will. This is the first thing about your establishing a neighborship and how to advertise anything that you have on your routing table in Node R12 to your neighbor router 4. All right. Let's check out one more thing. This is the routing table. But how to check the BGP table? Because in routing table, you will get only the two things, admin distance and your matrix. You are never going to get about the information attributes of the BGP. If you want to see that, you need to type the command show IP BGP. This way. That's going to display you the BGP table. And this will be displayed with the all information. So one by one, we'll see that what is that? See that the weight is the attribute, which is 0 by default. Then we have the path, which is not 14, which is 145. Let me type it again. My path is 145, means AS number. This path is also attribute. Then I have a I, means this network is introduced in BGP table because of network. Then we have a matrix, which is 0 by default. Then we have a local preference, which will be blank by default. These are all are the matrix. Then we have the next scope attribute. Next scope means here my BGP is telling that, hey, if you want to reach on this network, you need to send the packet to this interface or to this IP. Then you can reach them. Then we have a two more things, star and greater than sign. Star means you can get this information here also. Star means it is a valid route. And greater than sign means it is the best. So suppose you are getting this as a star, but you are not getting the greater than sign. If greater than sign is not present, it means that network will not be available in the routing table. Be careful about it. Sometimes what we do the mistake, we are checking the BGP table and we are seeing that, yeah, I have this route. Then why I'm not able to see this BGP route in my routing table? Because of this. If you don't have the greater than sign, it means this is not the best BGP path. And your router will not install this route as a BGP route. You might be getting it from somewhere else, like from the OSPF, from the static, from the default, from anywhere else, not from the BGP. So these two things is very, very important here. Star will be always there. It should be the valid route, valid BGP path, and the greater than sign means it is the best route. So only the best route will go in your routing table. Okay. So anytime when you are seeing that your route is a valid star, but there is no greater than sign, obviously that route you will not be able to see in your routing table. Okay, that's very important. And then we have attributes that we discussed here. What is that attribute? The meaning of that AS path. This AS path attribute is very important. This AS path is basically providing a loop-free environment. Because suppose these are the three different ISPs. ISP1, ISP2, ISP3, ISP4. ISP1 is sharing its local loop back to the 4. 4 is having the neighborship with this also and with this also. And suppose in a backend, our 13 router is also connected to this ISP. So what he will do, he will share the same route which he was getting from the 4, from the 8 to the 13, and 13 again back to the 12. So again, the 12 is getting its own loop back because of the connectivity between these three eyes. So what R4 will R12 is going to do with that? Suppose R12 is getting a route which is having its own AS path, its own AS number, which is 145 in that route. So he will reject that one. He will say that no, I am getting my own AS number in that route. It means it can provide a looping problem. It can create a looping problem. So your router will discard that. Any router will always check that what is the AS path. It will be not only one, it will be many routers, many AS numbers. If router 4 is receiving this network, a BGP route, it will always check the first AS path. Whether the AS path is containing my own local AS number or not. My own local AS number is what? 123. If in this AS path you are seeing your own AS number 123, then your router 4 will say that no, this is not a good route. I will not accept. Why this AS path attribute is there? To provide a loop-free environment. So that there should be no looping problem. Otherwise, there will be a looping problem. It's not like our IGP where we have the other mechanism to secure from this routing loop. Here we have the AS path to secure it from the looping problem. Any router, when receiving a BGP route, it's always going to check the path attribute. And if the path attribute, its own AS number is present, then router will not accept that route, not accept that method. No. Okay. Let's go and now see. I'm going to make a neighborship with now between R4 and R2 because they are in the same AS number 123. So what it will be? It will be IBGP neighborship. So let's see that. What will be the difference in the case of IBGP neighborship between the 4 and 2? Let's connect it. I will go again under my router BGP, which is 123. Anytime if you suppose type a wrong AS number, no big deal because at a time only one BGP AS number you can start on your device, so it will give you the error that this is the wrong. So don't worry about it. Now I'm going to establish a IBGP neighborship with my router 2. What is the IP of this? 155.1 will be the same because it is between 2 and 4, so the third octet will be 24. And the router 2, so its IP will be the 2. Remote AS in this case will be what? Same number. Same number means same AS number, 123. That's it. Same way, I will take my access of my router 2 and configure it on the 2 also. Let's go there and configure it. Router BGP 123 and my neighbor will be router 4, which is 155.1.24.4. Remote AS number and the AS number both will be the same, right? If they are reachable to each other on this IP address, they will establish the IBGP neighborship. We get the log message that the BGP neighborship is up. Let's see that what we have here. Show IP BGP summary command is going to tell you that who is your neighbor and how many neighbors you have. So I am a neighbor with this router 4 with the same AS number. There will be a time or information also, uptime from how much time it is up and how many prefix or the network information I received from my neighbor. Okay, this all information will be there. Next thing, we'll check again my BGP table. So IP BGP. I'm getting these routes. That 150, it was from the router 12, which you can see here. From the router 12 to the 4, 4 to the 2. 2 is also getting that loop back information. But there is some problem in that. What is the problem? Problem is I'm not getting the best path. Right? If I'm not getting the best path, it means it will be not in my routing table. It will not be in my routing table. First thing. Second, I'm also getting one extra thing, I. I means this telling us that I am getting this route because of IBGP, means from a IBGP neighbor. I'm getting it from the IBGP neighbor. Why? Because R2 and R4 are the same AS. They have established the IBGP neighborship. So that is why all the route that my R2 is going to get from the R4, they all have the I at the start. This I has nothing to do with the I at the end. This I is for the origin code. And this I is for about IBGP information. That yes, I'm getting it from my IBGP neighbor. That is only significance of it. Okay. Why this is not the best route? Why I'm not getting the sign of greater than sign as the best route? Anyone want to tell me? In the chat box, obviously, not to unmute. So the reason why I'm not getting it as a best route, because what is the next hope? 124.12. Always in the case of BGP, your router will check, hey, can I reach to the next hope? If I can reach to the next hope, then I will make it as a best route. Otherwise, I will never make it as a best route. So let's check that. Can I ping this IP or not? No, I cannot reach on that side. So even if you don't reach to the next hope, obviously you will never make this route as a best. That's why there is a no greater than. One common thing in R2 and R4. R2 is getting this network as a next hope 155.1.124.12. Same way if I go on R4. R4 is also getting this route as a next hope 155.1.124.12. You see that? The next hope is not changing on R2 and not on R4. Why is it so? And because of that, your R2 is not able to reach on this network because he don't know how to reach to the next hope. If he don't know to reach to the how to reach to the next hope, how he will reach on that? So why the next hope information is not changing? So that is the problem with IBGP. In IBGP, there is a property that if two routers are establishing a IBGP, so next hop information will never change. Whatever you are having on R4, same will be given to the R2 without making any changes to the R2. Same thing will be forwarded to that. So that is the problem, I think. But yeah, this is the default behavior of BGP. In IBGP, anything my router 4 is sharing with the 2, it's not going to change anything in that attribute when he is sharing that information to the 2. No way. So how can I change that? I can configure some other stuff. I can configure something like use your own interface. So let's go here and change that. The problem is my router 2 don't know how to reach on this interface. That's why he's getting a problem. And he's not getting this route as the best route like R4 is getting as the best route. Because R4 know how to reach on this side. But R2 don't know. Let's go under the router 4, under 123 with your neighbor, which is your 155.1.24.2 and write update. No, write that command. That's your update source self. Update source yourself. You will make yourself as a update source. And which interface you will use? If suppose you are using your local interface, then you will use that. If you are using your Ethernet things, like here I am using my Ethernet. What is that Ethernet? Which is going from R4 to R2, it is E0/1. So I will write down. This is my loopback thing. Ethernet 0/1. So what happened now? Anything which my router 4 is going to share with the 2 is going to update the next hop IP in that road, which is here, its own IP, which is this. Yes. And yeah, R2 know about how to reach on this. So this I will set it and then it will solve the problem. But the thing is, whatever I made a change here on R4 right now, if I go and check my IBGP, it is not changed right because BGP is a bit slow protocol. It having the hello or the keep alive messages as a 60 seconds. And the downtime or the update time is something like 180 seconds, dead time. So it takes some time. Because it is a lab setup, I can do this thing. Clear IP BGP and start this way. But it's not recommended on production network. If you are going to type this very dangerous command, you are going to shut down your network for maybe 30 minutes to 1 hour. Be clear. Be clear about it, okay? Don't do this kind of stuff on the production network. It is only for the practice purpose on your virtual lab. There are some other commands to reset your BGP by the soft command, soft reset and all that you need to use on the production network, not this command. Not that command which is required here, okay? All right. Now let's go on R4. Neighborship string. So IP BGP. I'm getting that root here as this way. And go and type one more command, which is router BGP 1.3 with your neighbor. What is that neighbor? Neighbor is my field 155.1.24.2 and write the command next hook cell. These two commands is required. Update source what interface and next hook cell. These two commands you need to type. Then my router 4 will make a changes and share its own IP as the next hook to the RP. Otherwise, it's never going to share that. If I check that, after some time, it will be updated and you will get that as the next hook, right? Now, till then, we'll go and establish a neighborship between 7 and 2. Router 7 is in my this AS number, which is 100 AS number. So we'll go on the router 7, take a control of that, and we'll see that. Configure a BGP here. This command, router BGP, it is 100 AS number. And my neighbor. Who is my neighbor? My neighbor is R2 because they are in the different AS number. So that neighbor will be the eBGP neighbor. So let's do that. Neighbor is my 155.1. It is between 2 and 7. So the third octet is 27. 27.2. And the remote AS number will be 123. My neighbor is writing a wrong command 155.1.27.2 and then remote AS number. That's it. Same way I will do it on R2 and it's going to become the neighbor with router 7 as EBG. So what is that? It is your 155.1.27.7 and remote AS number will be. Once they will establish these things, we'll see that neighbor will go up. Okay. We'll see that whether the R2 is getting that information or not. All the routes. Yeah. Now the next step you can see that it changed to your own router. This interface, local interface. So now my router know how to reach on this IP. So this route now become the best route also. And this route will be available in my routing table also. So as it is the best route. It is available in my router. All right. Let's go on the 7. If because it is available in my BGP table as the best route, 110% it will be shared with the 7 also. Because it is in BGP table, so it will be shared by default. So if I go and check it, I will be able to see that. I'm getting that route. This time I'm not getting the I. Why? Because I'm getting it from, see, R2 is maybe the IBGP with R4, but R2 is not IBGP with 7. R7 and R2 are eBGP neighbor. So R7 will never get this route as I here. I mark. No way. It's getting this way. See the changes here on R7. Here I'm getting a 2 path. This is the originator AS number. That who is the originator of this network? Who is the originator? AS number 145. And the last AS number will be your neighbor's AS. I'm getting this route from where? From my neighbor AS number 123. So same way, if now 7 is going to set with some other AS, that is to other. So there will be a pool of AS number in that path attribute. A lot of AS number you will see. If you check it on the internet, you will see that. There are many AS number will be there in any network information. Always the rightmost will be the AS number who originated this network. And the last eighth number will be your neighbors. In between, doesn't matter how many eighths. Right? This is the best part. So obviously, this will be available in my routing table also. This is available. All right. I will go back to this, and I'm going to ask you guys. Uh, all they have the same one having the loopback IP of my 12, all having the IP of my this. Can my R2 reach to the 12 loopback? Can my 7 reach to the loopback of the R12 or no? Let me check the chat. Yes or no? Just need to say the yes or no. Okay, there was the one question that is it mandatory to use a 30 mask for the loopback? No, it's not mandatory. You can use whatever the mask you want to use. There is no such restriction. That's what mask we need to use. It's a loopback, it's a virtual interface. Because the common practice, this is the wrong practice. That because we are creating a loopback on our interface, obviously that network is only one IP. I don't need required more than one IP. So that is why we give it as a 32, a common practice. But it doesn't mean that you cannot give any other network or the other mask. You can give any mask. One student is telling me that yes, we can reach from 7 to the loopback 12. Any other reply? Can we reach from 7 to that? Sandesh is telling that we can reach because we have the route on all the routers, but that is not right. That is not possible. Why? Let's see that. Go to the 7, router number 7. And try to ping this IP, which is 150.1.12.12. Let's see that where this thing is not working. Let's see the trace route. Trace route will go from 7 to 2. And after that, it will never go. 7 from 2 to 2, it will go to the 4. And from 4, it will go to the 12 watts. Let's see the trace route. And then you will realize what is the reason why it is not. All the routers having this route in their routing table. Correct? Router 7 having, router 2 having, 4 having, and router 12 is its own loopback. They have in their routing table, but still they are not able to reach. That is the mystery we have in our BGP routing protocol. It is a manual thing. It is not automated thing. Let's see that where it is going. It's reaching to the 2. After that, it is not going anywhere. And the reason is return path. See that? When my router 7 will send a packet, it's going to use its own IP. 155.1.27.7. It will reach here. He know how to reach on that. He will reply that. R4 don't know about where is that network. Same with the R12 don't know where is that network 27 dot something. Correct? Problem is return path. Packet will go from 7 to 2. From 2 to will reach to the 4. From 4 it will also reach to the 12. But 12 has a no backward path to reach on that. So you will never gonna to get a reply back. No way. No matter how much time I'm gonna to wait on it. So always remember, think about from the basic point of view, like how the IP packet will travel. All the time, destination IP is stuck in the packet. If destination IP is reachable, then only the packet will be forwarded to the next device. Otherwise, it will be blocked. That is the reason we are not able to reach there, in spite of having these routes on my routing table. Okay, can I reach from router 2 on that network? Can I get the reply? Anyone those who want to say yes or no? No, IBGP cannot share it. Yes. Again, he's saying that yes, still we cannot reach. Still, R2 cannot reach, get a reply from the 12. No way. Let's see that. Same problem. R2 packet will reach to the 12. If I go on 12 and I enable the debugging, debug IP ICMP. See that? I'm getting a packet, I simply come. Right? but I'm never going to reply back. Why? Because I don't know where is that network between 2 and 4, which is 24. I don't have the information about that. I will receive the packet, but I will never be able to reply back. Let me drop that on. Let's check that. So IP root. Router 12 has a no root about network 1.24, 1.27. That's why he is not able to reply back to the 7 as well as 2. So the 2 is also not able to reach there. Okay, the last thing. Can I reach from the router 4 to that loop back? Any reply for that? Yes or no? Why are the other students are not replying? You should involve fully. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay, all right. So obviously, even if you are playing a game and you are stick to a one number, like a head and tail, you are stick to the head. Obviously, in a maybe 3 or 4 times, you will get the head. So the same way here, obviously this time I will be able to get. But the reason, the logic you need to understand. Because our source IP will be this. And I will know about this IP because they are on that interface. So this time I will be able to get this. So my focus will be this way. The approach will be for the lab or the concept this way, that you need to understand anything from the packet level things. If it is working, then why? If it is not working, then why? If you don't use this approach, you will never be able to clear your CCI lab. No way. No matter how many times you are going to practice the lab, how many commands you are going to learn in your mind. Nothing going to save you or nothing going to help you to pass your CCI exam. Only approach is this, the packet level from the basic to the top level. See that all the router 2, router 7, they all have these routes of the BGP, but they are not able to reach on that route. So be clear about this. This is going to be a very tough thing in the production network when you are working with that. But if you learn this way from the basic way, you will never be able to confuse. All right. Next thing we are going to discuss. Suppose I want to make a neighborship between R1 and R4, BGP neighborship. Can I make that? Is it possible? Yes, it is possible. Why? Because in BGP, as I told you, there are two types of BGP, eBGP and iBGP. In case of eBGP, direct connectivity is required between the devices, like this, like this. Then only they can become the neighbor. But in case of iBGP, there is no such requirement. Two router can become iBGP neighbor even if they are not directly connected. Maybe this router is very far away. Maybe there between R1 and R4 there are 10 routers. Still, they can become the iBGP neighbor. No problem at all. The only one condition is there. What is that condition? Condition is this. They have to have the network layer reachability with each other. At the TCP layer, they have the reachability. Means they should be able to ping to each other. If they are able to ping to each other, they can make the iBGP neighbors with each other. No problem at all. Let's see that. I want to establish a BGP neighborship with my router 4 and 1. And router 4 is going to use this IP address between R1 and R5, which is 15, 15. Let's take the control of 1 as well as 5. So I can show you what is there on about. So IP interface read, it is on 15.1, right? Same with the 5 is there in between. So R4, if he want to make the neighborhood with 1, he will write the R1's IP, not the R5's IP. How he will write that? Let's see it here. Go under the router BGP, obviously that 123, and then type the neighbor. Who is my neighbor? My neighbor is R1. This interface IP 0/0. What is that IP? It is 155.1.15.1. What is the remote AS number? Same AS number, 123. I will write that. Same way, I will go on R1, and type this here. Let's go there. Router BGP, same AS number. Who is my neighbor? My neighbor is router 4. What IP I'm going to use? I'm going to use this IP gigabit 0 in Ethernet 0/0, which is 45. So let's go here on R1 and configure your neighbor 155.1.45.5 and your neighbor AS number will be the same. R1 and R5, R4 have configured manual IBGP neighborship with each other. But the problem is, it is allowed, but still they are not able to make that neighborship step. Still that is down. It's not going to be so as up. I go here, show IPBGP summary. You can see that the neighborship is ideal. It's not working. The reason is R1 don't know how to reach on this IP address. So as I told you, the condition is R1 need to be reached on that IP address. That same way R4 should be able to reach on that neighbor's IP. So right now I don't have the reachability. I don't have any routing protocol. 155.1.45.5. So obviously I cannot reach that. So I need to fix that problem. How I can make the reachability between R4 and R1. Then I can establish the neighbor. Let's go on the same way on 4. R4 also don't know how to read it. I will configure, maybe the static route I will configure. IP route may be a default route or a specific route to reach on the R1 network, which is 155.1.15.0, 255.255.0. My router 5 will be the next route. 155.1.45.5. It is fixed on R4. Same way, I will fix it on R1. If R1 want to reach 145.4 network, what I will do, 155.1.45.0, and the next IP is my R5. R5 IP is what? It is 155.1.15.5. Yeah. What do you think? Whether now the route will be established or not? Between 4 and 1. Firstly, I need to check that, whether they can reach now or not. What do you think? Can they reach to each other or not? Is there any other problem? Think that 155.1.15.1. I can reach on that. Same way on R1. Can I reach on this IP, which is 155.1.45.4, right? I can reach on that. So I think I configure a wrong IP here. You can see that for the neighborhood on R1. And on R4, does I configure the same? Yeah, I configure the same. It's proper. On R1, I need to change my neighborhood. Let's go and change. What I did here, I typed the wrong IP. In place of 45.4, I typed it as a 5. Let's go here under the config and change. Delete that. We'll delete this information and then we are going to configure the new neighborhood, which will be 155.1.45.4, which is my router 4. And remote AS number will be 123. They have reachability, they have the correct neighbor information. They should be the neighbor R4 and R1 become. See that neighborship is up. Neighborship is up. They are not directly connected, but still they are able to make a neighborship. So the only condition when you are making a IBGP neighborship that they have a network layer reachability. If they have the network layer reachability, there is no problem at all. And they can become the IBGP neighbor. They can share the all information. Let me show you here. I'm getting that the same too. What is the next hop? Here I'm not changing my next hop. This anytime by default when a router is sharing the BGP route to IBGP neighbor, it will never change the next hop. If you want to change the next hop, then you need to work out this way. You need to type these commands. What is that? This command you need to type. Next hop self update source interface. Then only they are going to use their own IP as the next hop to the R. Otherwise, it will be like that. So that is why R1 is different. So R1 is getting this route, but it is not getting as the best route. Why? The same reason. R1 don't know how to reach on this IP address 124.12. That's why we have the problem. We are not getting as the best. This is the condition for your IBGP route. Next thing, if I go and make a neighborship between 2 and 5, and then see one more condition about the IBGP, and then we'll stop it. Okay. So let's go quickly on 5 and 2 and configure the neighborship between 2 and 5. Router BGP 103. My neighbor will be router 5 and 2, they are on 0/0. Let me check that. Do we have configuration of the interface or not? I have no configuration. So I will first configure my 03 here, which will be interface 0/3. IP address I will use between 5 and 2 will be 25. 155.1.25.5 and make the link as a issue. Same way on 2. Go on the 2 and configure that interface, which is 0/0 interface E0/0. And we'll type that 155.1.25.2 and the mask will change. And not done. Right? So now we are all set to configure the BGP between 2 and 5. Let's do that. It will be also the IBGP. But what will be the problem? We'll see here. The only reason of making a neighborship between 2 and 5, not to make it complicated, just to explain you the one more concept of IBGP. Okay? Neighborship will be, who is my neighbor? Router 5, which is 25.5, and remote AS number is the same. Same way, I will go on 5 and configure that. Router BGP 153, the same number. And who is my neighbor? 155.1.25.2, and remote AS will be 123. Then, obviously, they are reachable. They will establish the neighborhood between the 2 and 5. The state, they have established the neighborship. Let's check that the neighborship statement, is it up or not? In the neighborship command, what you can get the information? In the neighbor command, you can get what is the AS number of my neighbor, how many prefix or the network I'm receiving from my neighbor, and what is the uptime of this neighborship. In production network, when you are working, when you are troubleshooting, always check your BGP uptime. If this BGP uptime is something like a very less time, like here, 6 seconds only, always remember something flagged in your network. Maybe the link is down, maybe the interface having some problem is there. Ideal condition for the BGP, this time should be very high. It should not be the second or the minute or the hour. It should be the many days. Always check that. And state and prefix should be always there. If you are getting the 0 prefix, it means on my router 5, I'm not going to get any BGP route. So IP BGP, see that. 2 is having that route as a best route also. So IP BGP. See that, it is the best route, right? It is the IBGP, but it is the best route. Then why 2 is not sharing it with the 5? No matter how much time I'm going to wait on 5, I will never going to get them. And this reason is basically the one quality of your IBGP. What is that? To avoid looping problem. To avoid looping problem inside AS, any IBGP route will not be shared with the another IBGP neighbor. This is the default behavior. So R2 is getting that BGP route from where? From R4. How? Because of IBGP route. So if I go and check it on R2, R2 is getting this route as a I. I means it is a IBGP route. So any router, when it is getting a IBGP route, it will never share it with another IBGP neighbor, which is router 5. So that is why 5 is not getting that route. No matter how much time I'm going to wait here, this will not get. So what we get from here, there are two conditions in IBGP. One condition is the next hop. When you are getting any route, any network information from your neighbor, the next hop information will never change. You will get whatever it is there on your neighbor. So when R4 was sharing with the R2, R4 was not changing the next hop information before sharing with the IBGP, before sharing with the 5, or before sharing with the 1. No. One condition. Second thing, IBGP neighborship can be established between the two routers even if they are not directly connected. Even if they are not directly. The only requirement is they have a reachability on that IP address. They have the reachability, IBGP can be established. Third thing, any router, whatever IBGP route they have, they will not share that IBGP route with another IBGP neighbor. Yeah, R2 will share it with the 7. See that? R2 having this route as a IBGP, but it is sharing with the 7. Why? Because 7 is not IBGP, it is an EBGP neighbor. So yeah, that is why the 7 is getting this route. 7 is getting this route, no problem at all. But 5 is not getting because of the looping problem. Just to avoid the looping problem, R5 is never going to get that to information. So how can I provide that information to the R5 then? Is there any way? Yeah, there is a one way. What is that way? R5 need to establish a neighborship with 4 directly. Because R4 getting that 12.12 route not as a IBGP, it is getting that route as a EBGP. There is no I here. So he will share this route, EBGP route, to the R5. So if I establish a neighborship with 5 and 4, then 5 is going to get that. Otherwise, 5 is never going to get that. And now the problem is, because R5 is not aware about that, when R1 is gonna to ping this IP address, 1.12.12, what will happen? This IP will be black hole here on R5. Because R5 don't know about the 1.12.12. R1 know because of the BGP neighborship with the 4. So he is getting that route information as a BGP route. But when it will reach to the 5, because the path is only this way, 5 is going to black hole. It will never going to forward that packet to anywhere. So that is the problem in BGP. Any production house or the ISP, when they are running the BGP, it is mandatory. They need to run BGP on all the internal routers. IBGP, full mesh means all the outside routers need to make a full mesh BGP with that. This is the one thing. Or second thing, you need to use some other option. What is that? Route reflector option. Other method, route confederation. You can use the confederation. Or the three option is there. Not to black hole any packet inside a AS number, there are three possibilities. I need to establish a full mesh BGP, means each router having a neighborship with each other, which is very difficult. Second option, configure a technique which is called as a route reflector. Or the third technique, use the BGP confederation. Otherwise, always your traffic will be black hole, and you will never know why the traffic is not going on. So one thing remember in your mind, any router when they are getting a BGP route, it doesn't mean that you have the full visibility and you can reach on that router. It depends on the condition. It depends on the logic of the packet flow. Because BGP is your manual routing protocol. It's not doing anything automatic. Only one thing it is doing automatic. Whatever you have in your BGP table will be shared with your neighbor automatically. One thing only. Apart from that, nothing will be there. Right? So we'll stop here. This is just a small introduction about the BGP. So when you will start the classes, obviously, this will be the first class like that. So from the start, from the very basic to the big thing, like how to configure the BGP, MPLS, VPN, DRF, and all that. My job as a mentor is to make the things simplest to you guys. You should never confuse about anything when you are learning when you are doing the lab on that topic. So you should be very clear in all things. So step by step, we'll go this way. We'll take a one topic, discuss about that in detail, and then apply the same topic, same logic on the lab, and show you at the same time. So that will give you the extra tips on that. All right? Any questions till now you have, guys? You can ask. Yeah, why we need the IGP if we have the IGP means my OSPF and all that stuff? What's the good question? Let's go back here. Suppose internally I am running my OSPF in that section, okay? I'm running only the BGP here. I'm not running my BGP on these routes. There is a one problem. Obviously, they can have this thing. What you will say? I can redistribute my route of on R4 from the BGP to the OSPF domain, right? And then all the router will have the full visibility. Yes, this is a very good solution. But what is the problem? The problem is when I'm doing this, the two problem I will get. The first problem is I cannot use the traffic engineering. My internal router will never be able to have a traffic engineering or the path manipulation because they are getting that because of the OSPF. An OSPF has a no technique to do the path manipulation or the traffic engineering. That is the one problem. That is why we're never going to do this. That internally we use OSPF and redistributed that because they will not be allowed to do the path manipulation. How to reach in a best way to outside of it. Second problem. In the case when you are getting it from any international ISP, that how many BGP routes will be there? 1 million approximately. 1.4 million something in an international ISP. And you when you redistribute that into the OSPF will crash. OSPF cannot handle that 1.4 million routes. No way. Right? That is the two reason why full mesh IBGP, route reflector, or the configuration is used inside any AS. That is the only reason. Yeah, if you have the limited amount of routes, then you can use it. Like a small office, and you could request to the ISP, I need only my route, not all that 1.4 million routes. Then you can work it. Otherwise, if it is an ISP need to run IBGP on all the routes. Either maybe the route reflector way, the configuration way, or the full mesh. It need to do that. Otherwise, it will not be able to do the traffic engineering. It will not be able to do any path manipulation. And in normal scenario, in any company, if you do the redistribution, that will crash your SPF. That is the reason of using the IBGP, not that. Okay. Let's see what you are asking here. You are asking, okay, clear, thanks. All right. For the admission and all things, you have this message that you can see here. You need to contact on these number, and our backend team will also contact you guys to discuss about that. Okay. Let's go back here on the same presentation, and now we are going to discuss about the automation thing. Why this your CCNP CCI enterprise is very attractive in the market, very demanded track in the market because of the automation. What you are going to get here, you are going to get these things. Software defined networking, SDN, SDaccess. See, the software defined networking is a common word. Don't confuse with this word that it is just a Cisco thing kind of a concept. No, it's a common word. Any device right now, from the legacy way, how we are accessing our devices, we are accessing our devices by the CLI, by the remote access, by the telnet and SSH, and whatever we want to do on our devices, we are doing the command prompt from the CLI, right? Whatever the command. Now the thing is changing. We are shifting toward automation. So automation is there in a two part. One is for my local area, and one is for my WAN connectivity. In both the automation, what is happening? We are shifting our control plane from our devices to a central point, a controller. In case of that is called as a SDN controller, which is going to control all these devices, going to manage all that kind of a routing, ARP, RIB, and all the things. Who is going to do? The SDN, one single device controller. These devices are only managing data play. They are instructed from the controller to, hey, forward this traffic to here, to there, and they will do it. They are shifting it from one interface to another interface. Only that thing is there in that. Even these devices can be configured from a one central point from your controller. You can get a proper visibility from the controller in the case of software-defined networking. What is that device called in case of a Cisco? If it is for the local network, that device is called as a DNS center. We call it as a DNS center. The DNS center is going to have all these devices access. The full visibility. DNS can provide you the intent-based traffic engineering. You can check which application should go from here to there, which application go from there to there. That all can be done from the controller, from the DNS center, and instructed to these my devices. And they will follow that rule to do that. I don't need to do anything on my devices from the CLI. I can do it on from the GUI access using any connectivity with the laptop or anything connecting to my controller to the DNS. GUI access base, I can configure all my devices in a one go, within a second, we can configure this device. And I can manage my all the devices. We have the full visibility of these devices properly on here on a one sensor. That is why this is very popular nowadays. Earlier, if you are installing a new router, suppose it is a gateway router, there will be a NAT configuration, there will be a BGP configuration, there will be the IGP configuration, there will be the redistribution, there will be the access list configuration. A lot more things will be there on that. And if an engineer is going to do that, it's going to take a lot of time. So how can we reduce that time? By the automation, we are going to install that device, and we can do by using pre-built templates from the controller itself. All things can be done very easy. All testing, all management will be done from the DNS end, from the controller. Traffic management, visibility of the all interfaces, all the device information, the alarms and the log messages, all will be done from this only one point, the central point. In case of Cisco, that device is called as a DNS center. How this DNS center is working? There are two interfaces. One interface from the controller to the downside that you can judge it with the help of direction. Upside, you know that it is a north, downside it is a south. So any interface which is going from your controller toward the end devices, that is called as a southbound interface. Means your controller want to communicate with the real device. Any communication from the controller to the human being who is interacting with this controller by the GUI access, that is called as a northbound. What is the example of your southbound interface? OpenFlow. I'll just have one example. Same way for the northbound interface, these are the examples. REST API, JSON and all. What is doing the northbound interface? Like a human being is accessing a web server. How? By the HTTP protocol. Same way he is going to access the controller and going to instruct what to do by the REST API. It's similar like your HTTP request and GET packet. So all is happening why? Through the one device. So the time is reduced, the scalability is good, the cost will be also very effective, security increase, and the management become very easy. So that's why we are shifting to the software-defined SDN concept for the LAN also as well as the WAN also. We'll discuss about the WAN, the SD-WAN also, why we have and what is the benefit of. So that is the basic concept about your SDN or the software, why we are shifting there. So after maybe 4 to 5 years or maybe after 10 years, we don't know, but we are going to shift on this GUI-based access of all the devices. GUI-based access, you can see right now if you go and check it with any firewall, like your next generation firewall, like your FTD, in a Cisco if I talk, and we have the Palo Alto or the Checkpoint. They all are the next generation firewall. NG firewall means they have the only one option to access and configure these devices, which is GUI. You don't need no more try to remember these CLI command, what to type for the VPN, what to type for this and that. All things you can do, just click here and there, and you can configure your VPN within a second on your FTD, Palo Alto, and Checkpoint. So these are the beauty of that shifting toward the automation. Dealing the things with the seed. How much time it takes? Suppose if I ask you guys, how much time it takes to configure IPsec VPN by the CLI? Obviously, even if you are a very expert, might be take something like a 5 minutes. But here with the GUI access, you can do it in a 1 or 2 minutes. Just a 1 or 2 minutes. Just a minute. So that's why we are shifting toward the automation. Always remember that. Right? So a lot of thing is there in that SDN. It's very demanding in the market. Like 20 years back, how the MPLS was demanded, the same way today in scenario, SD-WAN is demanded in the market. If you are going for the interview, the first question you will be asked, hey, do you know about the SD-WAN? Do you have the hands-on experience on that? So obviously, once you will complete your CC enterprise, you can write in your resume that yes, I have the hands-on knowledge on SD-WAN implementation. So what is that SD-WAN? It is same like your SDN solution. It's an automation solution for the networking. What is there in that? We'll see it here. We'll see it here. How we were doing till now the networking in the traditional ways of networking. Let's see that. There are three branches of a company: the headquarters, branch 1, branch 2. Right? Branch 1, branch 2, and the headquarters. They want to connect to each other. How they were connecting? They were taking a lead line or the MPLS circuit from the ISP. In between, there is a MPLS or the ISP network. Here also there is MPLS. This MPLS network is very stable link. Means suppose you have taken 100 Mbps, they will guarantee you to provide 100 Mbps 24/7. First thing. Second, it will be totally dedicated link from your branch to the headquarters by the ISP. Full privacy will be there. Means your data will be never shared with any other customer, not at all. But the problem with this MPLS, we see the traditional network base working perfectly well with the MPLS technology, and the data center were here in the headquarters. So anytime when branch want to connect with the data center or the headquarters, they are coming with that MPLS. If they wanted to go outside, they have for the internet, they can go from that. But problem is this in today's scenario. Data center is shifted from the headquarters to the cloud. AWS, Azure, Dropbox on that cloud. Now, any banking company, why they need to maintain the data center? Why they need to keep the engineers for that? Why not they outsource to the cloud? So that is the best practice by all the banking or any other companies, those who are not the networking company, they are shifting their servers to the cloud. And it reduces the cost. More or less, it's going to reduce the cost and also going to provide a better scalability. That's why they are shifting. Now, the problem with the traditional networking. Now, if the branch want to reach to the data center, how they are going? They are going from the branch to the headquarters, then headquarters having a link toward the cloud, and then it is going there. All the branches are going this way. The problem is this link will be exhausted all the time, or your headquarters devices are exhausted to sending that packet from the branches toward the cloud and getting that reply. It's not a scalable solution for the today's environment where we have the cloud-based network. So what is the better solution for this? We have the SD-WAN. What SD-WAN is going to do? SD-WAN is going to change it. SD-WAN is asking that will now install the SD-WAN devices, VHS devices to the all clients. Means I will suppose earlier I was using a 100 Mbps link with the headquarters. I will reduce it to the 10 Mbps and I will increase this internet speed, a normal internet, and then I can access the cloud. But what device? Because normally it will be not secure. What device I will use? I will use this SD-WAN device. So SD-WAN devices are going to do what? They are going to provide a connectivity with all. They are going to provide the connectivity with all the devices. Means they will connect. One link will go toward the MPLS, one link will go toward the internet, like that. And they will be providing the best solution. So earlier, when my traditional network having one way to go to the headquarters. Now, SD-WAN is providing a more efficient way. SD-WAN devices will be installed in the branch. One link will go toward the internet to access the cloud. One link will go toward the MPLS, but will with the reduced speed because all the data is there on the cloud. But this link via the SD-WAN will be very secure. Nothing will go as a unsecure or encrypted traffic. This is the first benefit of this SD-WAN. So SD-WAN is reducing your cost. Earlier you was using 100 Mbps line with the ISP. Now you reduce to the 10 Mbps. And all you shifted it on the internet because your server are available on the cloud. So you are restricting on that. How you will secure that link? By the SD-WAN. SD-WAN, whenever it is going to make a connection, will make it on a by default on the IP set. Hence, all things will be encrypted from end to end. Second thing, these SD-WAN devices are manageable from the one controller phone. One controller is going to manage all these devices. I don't need to configure any SD-WAN on any branch. I just need to configure some basic stuff, the IP and the certificate. After that, it will be configured from the one central point from the controller. Controller is going to manage my all the devices. Same thing, whatever we were getting on the SDN, we are getting here in the SDWAN. And one central point, you can manage all, configure all the SDWAN devices, manage how they need to send the traffic, manage how the application should go on this link and not. And also, you are going to get some security stuff. You can secure that whether your branch is getting any malicious packet or not, any virus or not, that you all can do it from your controller of SDWAN. So that is why this SDWAN has become popular all over the world. It's based on the GUI access, so less hectic commands, easy to installation or deployment of devices at the branch side, easy configuration, easy maintenance, easy management, with full visibility of each and every device. Not only the device, you are getting the visibility about the traffic, which kind of a traffic is flowing out of branch 1, out of branch 2, whether they are accessing all the time web services, whether they are accessing any FTP kind of a service, what content they are accessing, what type of the data it is, video, voice, and all, that you all can see here from the control. And you can manage, you can make the policies that what can be done and what cannot be done. All things will be done. That is the basic information about your SDWAN. As I displayed here, that we have the proper lab. If I just go and close this lab and open our SDWAN lab, you can see that. All the lab is ready, everything is there, IP address and all setup is configured. A controller is basically a switching. We manage, vBond, and vSmart. What they are going to do, how they work, we'll all see in the coming classes. And these are my edge routes, the SDWAN, the edges. That is controlled from where? From this central point. In between, there may be the internet, there may be the MPLS network, there may be a 4G or the 5G network, doesn't. They are connected like this. This whole lab you will be provided when you will start, when we are going to start the topic SDWAN, and we'll have a better understanding by practicing on these labs, so you can add in your resume also about these things. Okay, these are stuff you can add. Any question that you guys you want to ask about the lab access and anything, we are open now to discuss about that. This is the only thing that I wanted to tell you in this demo class. One last thing, how this DNS center will look like. This is the first page I have just taken out of that. See that I have these much of devices. I can manage, I can view all the devices. I can see the alarms about that. I can configure anything, whatever I want to do that. All things I can do it from the one central point of the controller, which is my SDWAN setup here. All that I can do from the one point. Okay. All right. Any question that you guys want to ask, you can ask now one by one. Raise your hand and we'll see that. You can unmute. You can raise your hand if you have any doubt. No question is there? Anything about the lab, about the pricing and all that things, you can ask here. And the class timing will be 8 to 11 IST. 8 to 11 p.m. IST for this course, CCNP and CCI. This is covering both, so CCNP plus CCI. Is SDWAN going to replace the traditional network? Obviously not. Because as I told you here in that topology, that is still I need my decentralized connection, because still the companies at the headquarters not shifting their secure server, very confidential server to the cloud. Once they will be able to shift, they are ready to shift that. Obviously, we can stop using that MPLS network, but not now. It will take a time. Like, see, how much time we are working with the listening about the IPv6. Do we have replaced the IPv4? Still, we are using that IPv4. It takes a time to transition from one technology to the other. But obviously, this will be a very fast, rapid way. Will replace the MPLS network from that. But still, what I am doing in my company, what customers are coming, customers are using SDWAN. And what they are using from the SD-WAN, they are taking MPLS layer. Why? Because whatever you were doing earlier on the MPLS, it was not encrypted packet. But because of now the SD-WAN, this will be encrypted. So still, SD-WAN is it's not nothing like they're going to replace your MPLS. SD-WAN always have a one connection toward the MPLS, one connection toward the internet, but both will be now the encrypted and secure connection. So still my traditional network MPLS backbone network will be there. It's not going to be replaced soon. Till then, we are coming with something new technology. Till then, it will be there. Yeah, I suppose I don't want to make a direct connection with my head office, with my branch. If branch and head office all agree to connect via the internet, then obviously I don't need it. This one and this. But it will take a time, not right now. The big companies in the companies, those who are client with my company, we are providing this solution. We are providing a one connection toward the outside, one connection toward the internet, and one connection toward the MPLS. Yeah, they have reduced the speed. Earlier, they were using taking the 100 Mbps bandwidth. Now they are only taking 10 Mbps bandwidth from my company. So a big loss from the point of revenue. But still, they are using it. Okay, so this will not be replaced sooner. Will the topic you went over be covered in greater detail? It was just a 1.5 hour class, right? And I wanted to show here just my way how I'm going to take any topic. Obviously, each and every topic will be covered in detail. And how many classes, if I tell you about the BGP, obviously at least 10 classes will be there for the BGP. 10 classes. Can you believe that? Because a lot much you are going to learn in the BGP. BGP is not just to enable the neighborship and all, a lot more about the path, about the attribute, the engineering, the VPN, VRF, how the BGP VPN routes will go from here to there using MPLS technology. That all will be discussed in the greater length when we will start the proper class. This is just a demo class to show my way how I'm going to take any class, how I'm going to explain whether it is a small topic or the big topic. Okay? Do not worry about it. That in a greater length, in a proper way, which is required for the CCNP and CCI, will be discussed, and the way will be same. I will discuss something, a topic here. I will apply on the link. I will go and then apply on the link. Same day, I will show you on the link. It's not something that I will just talk on a PPT, just talk on the paint, and then stop that. No. Whatever I will teach you, I will tell you the concept, same concept I will show you to apply on the device. That make a sense, right? That make a greater impact on your mind. But yeah, it is this. So that will be the style of teaching, right? And obviously in a great detail we are going to. So anything that you want to ask about the admission process and all that, you can ask here. Backend team will reply to you. The timing, the lab access, be sure about it. The full lab access you will get all the time. There is no restriction because the enterprise lab, some part of that lab you can also install on your laptop. Our backend team is always there to help you to set up that lab on your router, on your laptop. No problem. Just you can unmute also if you want. No question. We'll stop. I will wait for the 2-3 more minutes. If you are going to ask any question, you can ask. Otherwise, we'll stop. Thank you, Sandesh. I hope you will enjoy the BGP once you will start that. Not worry about it. Okay. It's a good concept is there for the OSPF of the BGP, which is never there in the public domain. We'll all discuss that thing from the production network point of view, from the interview point of view, and from the obviously the CCI lab point of view. All right, chill and bye, guys. We can stop now.
Hello.
Thank you. Yeah. The class will be on weekend. Correct. The class will be on weekend from means on Saturday and Sunday, 8 to 11 p.m. Yes, you can ask if you want to ask anything.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what is the minimum laptop capability requirements for the labs, and what is the duration of the training?
So suppose you have something like a 16 GB or the 8 GB RAM. That's it. Because any lab which is involving the automation, you will do it remotely by the RDP. So for that RDP, it's enough. The 4 and 8 GB RAM is enough. No problem. But if suppose if you want to install some lab on your laptop, then 8 GB is required to practice about the OSPF, the BGP, the VPN, and all that. But you cannot do that practice of the SD-WAN and the DNA at all on your laptop. It required a very high capacity, like 64 GB, like that of a RAM. If you have, then you can go for it. So no problem. This RDP is available for you, so you can practice there. Why you want to install it on your laptop unnecessarily? For the basic practice, obviously you can do that, so that you can feel free to have anything on your OSPF, on your BGP, because whenever you get the RDP, that will be the dedicated things. You are working on your own LAN. You are making your own LAN. It will not be disturbed by the other. Right? Something they you will be taught. The best part, you will get the recording also, so you can revise the class, note down whatever we are discussing here in the class, and then make a reference for the CCI lab. Because CCI lab is not difficult because they are asking some other topics. It's very clear whatever we have in the CCNP, in all that, that the same way is there in the CCI. The only thing is CCI is making some conditions. When they are asking to configure the BGP, they will not ask you simply configure the BGP between the two devices. They will give you some conditions, and then only they will allow you to configure. That make it different. So you can fulfill the condition if you know the all the way how to configure BGP, how to advertise the rule, how we should not be change the next scope information. So the in-depth knowledge will help you to fulfill all that condition in the PCI exam, in the lab exam, right? All right, guys, we can stop if there is no more question.
Okay. How long is the training gonna be? How
It's
many
going
months?
to be something like 3 to 4 months.
Okay. Thank you.